It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
We all seem to have that inner critic inside our heads. I have a committee, the itty-bitty shitty committee. You know what I mean, that nagging voice, or voices in my case, that knocks us down and drags us down the road of self-sabotage and self-neglect. A strong, positive sense of self-esteem is your first step to anything you wish to accomplish. Discover who you truly are, that gorgeous, talented, fabulous woman who deserves recognition and unconditional love. You know, the most beautiful thing any woman can wear is confidence. Here on Confidence in Bloom is with the Divas That Care Network. I, Tina Spolatini, speak with women living in their own self-confidence about who they truly are, how they found themselves, and how they care for themselves. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a very unique and dynamic superstar who gives true meaning to the term multitasker. Once the shy, retiring wife of a small-town trucking company owner, she now travels the country as a renowned stress management expert, transportation industry advocate, and certified credit card utilization consultant, raising public awareness as to the challenges we face on a daily basis. Not only is she the most recently the proud author of a new autobiographical account of her experiences being married to the trucking business, but she is currently on tour presenting an inspiring self-help seminar series for modern couples entitled Women Are From Mars, Men Are Just Afraid. Recently voted for Woman of the Year by the Make Room for Seniors League in her hometown of Spondon, Alberta. She also is currently featured there as Ms. October on Fred's Farm Fertilizers and Fine Freight Forwarders community calendar. Please welcome our special guest for today, the unforgettable Shirley Best.
Hello there.
And how are you today, Shirley?
Well, I'm doing fine now that I'm here and everything has flowed properly, if you know what I mean. I am just in the pink.
Excellent to hear. So I have a few questions I'd like to ask you today. Let's start with your seminar series, Women Are From Mars and Men Are Just Afraid.
Well,
what can you tell us about that?
Are you thinking of joining up? Because we do have space in the class. Well, I just think that, there are so many instances where women themselves are, we always say the typical thing was men are from Mars. We are different, let's face it. I mean, it's just the way we're built, mentally. I think women, they tend to go a little crazy. Like, I'll give you an example, all right? So here's this couple, and the woman is, wanting to put herself out there and be romantic. Perhaps after dinner, it's the evening, they've had a few glasses of wine, and she's looking forward to a romantic evening, and the man turns her down. Well, she goes all crazy inside thinking, oh, he doesn't like me anymore. Oh, my God, it's the 5 pounds I've gained. Oh, no, I knew I should have counted those sesame seeds on my breadsticks last week at dinner. Oh, woe is me, I'm so fat. He's probably having an affair. Oh, Lord, he's having an affair. 25 years of marriage down the drain. Meanwhile, the poor man just had gas and didn't want to get involved. He didn't want to say that. Should he have to share that? But the woman has spiraled downward. So I think sometimes, women do go a little crazy. And men on their side, they just don't kind of clue in. They could go a ways themselves to be a little more analytical. But, and I mean, we're talking in broad strokes here, Tina. Not every man and woman fits into this. But, basically it all boils down to men are stupid, women are crazy.
Okay. right then. Women are crazy. I will agree with you there. We tend to make the smallest hill into the, greatest mountains. Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. Absolutely, yes. Now, it's just human behavior. I don't mean to put down men or women. I just find it fascinating to look at life in general, don't you?
Absolutely, 100%. Our
All
brains
the little
are
inanities.
amazing.
Yes, and how we process things and the little inanities and insanities, like some, as I was just out running errands and just getting through this world. I mean, there's so many roadblocks, and I'm not talking just on the road, although that's true, but things like, you go to pick up your prescription that they've texted you is ready, and they haven't even started on it. And then when they do start on it, and now they present it to you, even though you've paid coverage, and every other time you've been there, it's been maybe free or whatever your coverage is. Now they're charging $60 for it, but nobody knows why. It's just, it's a kind of no wonder people are crazy.
So true. Yes. Now you are a stress management expert. So please explain to us how you help people to manage their stress.
Well, it's funny. We were just on the same wavelength there. That's where the stress comes from, all these little inanities and insanities. I mean, you look at this whole techno craze here, where you have your social media, the new social disease. You got your, all this, I've always tried to avoid technology myself. My iPhone version is so old. Its Siri has gone senile, I swear. And, it's even that, you wonder, I think that's a good source of a lot of stress for us, because technology is great when it works. That's sort of something that's the new homily that should be embroidered onto the picture frame thing, like it used to be home sweet home or something. But now everybody says technology is great when it works. And it's so true, because, there's always some problem, like even just phoning in. You wouldn't believe trying to get a representative. You want to talk to somebody about, whatever it is that you're calling in. I'm trying not to name names. But there's a particular company where, you go, a representative, please. And it goes on and on. It's like, there's no way you're going to get to a representative at all. Well, I need to tell the representative what it's about. Well, no, it's too complicated. I need a representative. And then you start telling the machine what it is. And, of course, it doesn't understand you, because guess what? It was too complicated. And then you're embroiled in this whole thing. Did you want to do this? Press 1. Did you want to do that? Press 2. No, I just want a representative. And then you find yourself swearing at the robot thing, and I've just learned to confuse it, because then it gives me a representative right away. I just know now from dealing with this particular company that, you just talk to it in unending sentences, so it doesn't recognize any of the words, and then it goes, let's try something else, and passes you to a representative. But, you've gone nuts on the way.
Well, I love that. That sounds like great advice. I hope everyone heard that. Just keep talking to the robot, and they will get you a person.
Yeah, you could tell it anything
great.
You want. Yeah, you can talk about your marriage, talk about, use it as a, like a what do you call it, a counselor kind of thing, Oh, teenagers, do you have a teenager? Because mine is just out of control, if she pierced her nipple. I mean, it's just, what does that mean to the future of breastfeeding? And when you say things like that to these, automated systems, they just bog right down.
Yeah, because they don't know what to do with that information, right?
Not at all. I mean, we don't even know what to do with that information. What does it mean to, the future of breastfeeding, teething ring all in, and good nutrition all in one convenient location? I mean, it's just, another one of those inanities and insanities I keep talking about. But you asked me how you cope Well, I just, there are many ways to cope. A lot of stress management experts tell you to get out there and, say raise your fitness level. That's one of the popular ones, but I've never gotten into that exercise stuff. In fact, last time I went to the health club, I fell down the Stairmaster. So it ends up being even more stressful than you started out, and they've got all these things that, they want you to do, sit-ups and leg lifts and, I haven't spread my legs open that wide since I misjudged the distance between the dock and our motorboat last summer. I mean, you want to do these different permutations and things, you might, injure yourself. I mean, I certainly did. So, I do not recommend that kind of thing at all. It's nice if you want to do it, like to each their own, but don't go charging out in spandex, even that's stressful, to get to the gym because you're going to reduce your stress level. Heavens no. I say, I've always been a firm believer in the wise old adage, when the going gets tough, the tough go shopping. Shopping. I just like saying it like that too. Shopping. It's the best thing I found to get the happy little endorphins swimming around your brain. You don't need to raise your heart rate. Well, unless shopping does that for you, and yay. I mean, and why save for a rainy day? This was another one of those little homilies. You gotta save for a rainy day. Why? When you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. And if that rainy day comes and you're destitute, you can always jump in front of the bus then. And really, when you think about it, with so many scurrilous people out there stealing charge cards, I always think it's best to keep yours up to the max for security purposes.
Really?
Absolutely. Gives you peace of mind. When they steal them, they can't charge on them. They're going to be taken away anyway.
Again, good advice.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm full of good advice. Yes,
yes, I'm learning that.
That's why I'm a stress management expert.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
I wasn't always a stress management expert. I used to be an exotic dancer, but that was before I lost all the weight.
Okay, you need to tell me more about that.
Oh, I don't think we should go down that road. No. I don't want to get, this is another thing, that we're trying to obsess with women in particular to live up to this media image of physical perfection. I mean, we're bombarded nightly by these annoying late night infomercials with the stupid diet product testimonials. Surely you've seen some of them. The little fashion model scrawny proclaiming exuberantly, I went from a size 6 to a size 1 in 3 days. It totally changed my life. Now, for the first time, I can enter our family home through the mail slot. It's out of control, if you ask me. I don't know. There's a source of stress as well.
Like, for real, I have to agree. I definitely agree with that.
I know. People don't know whether they're coming or going.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Mm-hmm.
You were voted Women of the Year by the Make Room for Seniors League in your hometown. How did that make you feel?
Well, I think that, they knew what was good for them. Let's just put it that way. I guess you could call me a big fish in a small pond. It's not a very big town. And, I do contribute a lot to the community. And I think that, they just decided to honor me,
Yes, I love that. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I did make that sacrifice when I got my kneecaps dislocated from trying to break up an alcohol-fueled altercation at our Galloping Geriatrics Ladies in Midlife Bingo Bash. So that was something I took one for the team, literally, because, the name Bingo Bash was not supposed to be literal. But then again, neither were the tequila Metamucil shooters, and yet there they were. And with the hormones running amok, you know what it's like. You get women together and they have a good time.
Oh, my goodness, Shirley, I have to say you're making me really giggle. And I'm trying very hard not to giggle. It sounds like your life is very colorful.
Oh, yes, and I actually have a public presentation coming up that I'm very excited about, because for the longest time I decided that, I would just take a break from the fame and stardom. Not that I minded it, I was not into drugs, contrary to popular beliefs. Heavens no. I mean, crystal meth, just the fact alone that you have to cook it puts me off. My motto has always been, if your oven needs cleaning, it's time to move. So I would never get involved in that type of thing, not even that wacky tobacco, which is legal now. And let's not get started there. But no, I just decided, I was going to fulfill myself in other ways, and I have, and now I'm ready to come back to the stage and the television and the corporate ballrooms. I travel all over. You see, Tina, I'm not sure if you're aware that I am out there raising morale and thus productivity in all manner of different industries, not just the trucking industry. And as you mentioned in the little intro there, that my husband Cecil was involved in that. He's actually gone through many jobs. He used to do oil field service, best fishing, fracking, hauling, hot shot service, and adult video rentals. It's funny how you work with your hobbies. I guess you know how that goes. But he's held his own. Before he basically lost his mind. Things were going really well, but that was not a factor in my leaving the fame and fortune. He'd lost his mind long ago. But it's just something they don't tell you when you get married. It's just like my mother. She always said, they're not going to buy the cow if you can get the milk for free. And that was not necessarily about his mind, but other body parts. And I just thought, it took 50 years for me to realize, when you think about it, she was calling me a cow even then. I've been in therapy for a while, and I think I've let that go now. But I just want to point that out there. Calling me a cow even then.
I'm sorry that you had to grow up like that.
Well, that's all right. I'm familiar with cows. I've even done bull auctions. And what was that other thing that I did? It was called a bull congress, You would believe the obsession when you've got bulls. They are literally very obsessed with scrotal circumference is the way they put it. They measure them. I mean, what is your first clue? This is run by men.
Right. Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and certain breeds. Right? Yeah, certain breeds are bigger than others, and that's maybe a factor in some ranchers in terms of what cattle they want to raise. I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking, you never know. I mean, who knows? But I found it fascinating,
Yeah, that sounds like it was fascinating, for sure.
When you go to buy a bull in auction, there are all manner of statistics on this kind of thing.
Wow. You have to know a lot.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, a bull can even break his appendage. I learned that through doing a presentation for insurance, because you can insure your bulls, private, shall we say. Yes, exactly. We're being, very, PG here, right? We don't want to get
right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you can insure, because bulls are, when think about it, when you're breeding, seriously, you need to, you pay a lot for your bull, or for the essence of your bull. That's a good way to put it, isn't it?
It truly is. So you were saying that you are back on stage. Tell us more about that.
Well, this lady named Donna Lynn Erickson contacted me, and she said, Shirley, would you like to come to Festival Place in Sherwood Park and be on stage in a presentation? And it's like actually 3 of us women. It's called The Ladies Are Raising the Roof. That was her name for it. She made it up, and she said, did I want to be a part of it? And I thought, well, why not? I mean, it's been a while. I mostly work with corporate, as I said, raising morale and productivity, uniting and empowering. It's all customized I would know all those things about bulls, but I know all about potash mining. I've toured the oil sands. I mean, I even have my own hard hat and safety boots. Particular show. This will be on stage at Festival Place, and people can just phone Festival Place and buy their tickets. They've even got a token man who's the MC, and there's a silent auction that's raising money so we can go shopping, and we know that is a stress reliever, and it's raising money for the County Clothesline Foundation. And there's going to be a little meet and greet after, so anybody who comes can come down after it's finished and meet all the stars of the show. It's going to be really fun. I'm sure somewhere, somehow, I shouldn't say this, but I was just thinking that maybe someone could scare up some alcohol, but you never know. Personally, I've always approached drinking as a competitive sport myself, but it's so controversial these days with people driving and that, but you never know.
Well, it sounds like an exciting event. Ladies Raising the Roof. Is that what you said it was called?
That's right. It's November 5th, so that's not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, and the doors open at 1, so you can come in, claim your seat, and then go play at the silent auction.
Oh, excellent. Can we buy tickets at the door?
I have no idea.
Okay.
You'll have to ask Donna Lynn for that. It just says $30 available at Festival Place box office. So I have no idea. I would call in advance just to make sure, because it could sell out. I mean, we are very popular. That's
right. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to confidence and your, let's talk with your partner first. What's a piece of advice you could give to our listeners?
With regards to confidence?
Confidence with your partner.
Partner. You mean like a spouse?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just address the confidence part first. I work a lot with women, and I think that they are the greatest untapped resource. Like their magnificence is extraordinary, and yet they have no clue who they really are. If we were to mine down into the depths and find that glowing light that would just want to shine, but they've been taught for generations that they're supposed to serve others or stay in the background or not have a voice, and I could go on and on and on. But there's where it starts in terms of confidence, to start to realize that you don't have to be anything other than you are now to be absolutely adored unconditionally. And yet, how many of us grew up like that? It's always been a situation where you have to prove yourself, right? I mean, you go to school and it's, done in, like who got the best marks here, they get to have that prize, or, everything is a competition. So it feels like you're always trying to be something more, because what you are is less. And, when we can switch our perspective around and start to realize that these things like mistakes we made or failures we have as we grow up and we start to, work in business, and that we might consider, that was a failed marriage, that was a failed job, it didn't work out for me, and we think we have to carry it around like a the equivalent of a hair shirt, to continuously self-flagellate and make yourself feel bad all the time because, like, hey, you made that mistake back in 1972 and you should never forget it because this is a cautionary tale and you should never let go of it. That is absolute poop. I mean, every day is a new day. We don't have to carry that around. And the more that we start to really believe in our magnificence and let it come out and really shine, Tina. Oh, goodness, that just, you can tell how passionate I am about this, because obviously I grew up in the era when, people were calling you cows. Subtly, I don't even think she knew she was calling me a cow, but it's the principle of the thing. However, someone probably was, negative to her in her upbringing. But this is my point. Women need to, claim their power, who they really are. And then you go forth with confidence, because confidence is your birthright. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. I think you put it better than perfect. And what about with our partners then, with our husbands?
In what sense, though? I don't understand.
Well, okay, so how do we, make a relationship, how do we feel confident in the relationship that we're in?
Again, I'm not really clear on what you mean exactly, but, again, there's where your unconditional love should be coming from. Why wouldn't you feel comfortable if you were getting that?
Right. And so how do you suggest then that we make it clear to our partners that we deserve unconditional love as we are giving it?
Well, I think when we become who we are meant to be, and in that we, resonate with our magnificence, we don't accept anything less. You wouldn't attract anybody in who didn't think that way. It would be incongruent.
That's so true. That is so true. But I find with women that I work with, they can be confident, with being as a mother, as the business owner, entrepreneur, or, if they're working as in a job where they're not the owner, they can feel confident in every area of their life except for with their husband. Not that they're not confident with their husband, but they don't feel that they deserve the same unconditional love that they give.
Well, this is something that needs to be worked on. It's not a snap your fingers kind of solution, right? So it's something that is a journey, and they should be talking to me, someone who is wise and works in this area. To make them, at least, how shall I say it, make them aware of what could be. And again, it's a belief shift, because it's so ingrained in us, this perhaps prove yourself energy that I was talking about before, that we don't even think of it as abnormal. We don't think, what, I'm living my life trying to prove myself to everybody around me. And what's up with that? No, that's just normal life. It's like we never really sit there and go, am I going to breathe again in a second? Oh, good, I did. No, we just breathe. We're busy doing other things. So it becomes so ingrained that they wouldn't even notice it. You have to start being aware first. The more awareness comes, the more you start feeling that energy out of alignment. Whereas, like if I'm in touch with who I really am and my power, and I know that I deserve to be treated a certain way, then I would never be around people who didn't treat me that way. It would start out with, I just don't feel comfortable. And we always want to feel good. Because when we feel good, we create good, as we create our own reality there. So if being that life is a choice, why would you want to think any other way?
I love that.
So you don't want people around you that are going to, maybe, how would you say, like they're on their journey, and so there's empathy for them. But if they're constantly, negative, that can impact you. So you want to kind of keep those love you, but I got to keep you at a distance, because, the important thing really is you, because you are creating that reality. That is your life.
That's right.
And you deserve a good life.
That's perfect. Thank you so so much for that, Shirley. Is there anything else that you want our listeners to hear from you today before we sign off?
Well, that went so fast, Tina. Thank you so much for having me. I would encourage them again to call Festival Place in Sherwood Park to come and see Jennifer Mack and, of course, Shirley Best. That's me. And then the star of the show is Donna Lynn Erickson. And then, of course, we have our Ken Valgardson. He's our MC. So it should be really kind of great comedy from, that spirit of comedy that we all kind of grew up with, as opposed to the bars today where, there's a lot of, words turning the air blue, if you know what I'm talking about. I suspect this will be nice and good down home laughter. And don't we need to laugh more in this world, again, because of there's your stress release, shopping and laughing.
I love that. I love to laugh and I love shopping.
Mm-hmm. Are you
that
coming?
Is awesome.
Are you coming to see us?
I am definitely going to try.
Good. Well, you should, because bring your partner, and then I'll have to tell him a few things. Just I won't say his name, but I'll just be talking from the stage, and then you ask me how would they know that you'd be kind of elbowing him, going, listen to Shirley, she knows what she's talking about.
I like that. That is so true. Thank you so much for joining me today, Shirley.
It was my pleasure, and I hope everybody is, as I say, coming to the show. And if they want to talk to me personally, I'm sure you're going to put up my information, are you? Or should I tell
absolutely.
People? All right,
you
great.
can tell people, but I will put it up.
Well, you put it up there, and they'll write it down or do whatever they do these days. I don't have one of those QR codes that look like those ink blots that psychologists have. I don't even understand where they're supposed to connect to, and I certainly can't get my phone to do it.
So we'll just go with the old-fashioned. We'll
That's
contact
right.
you.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
All right, dear. You're welcome.
Confidence in Bloom is a celebration of self-love, a confirmation that you're an amazing, desirable, brilliant, gorgeous, talented woman, even though you may not look like a screen star or a supermodel. The truth is, they don't even look like that. We offer unconditional love to our partners, our children, our extended family, even our pets. It's high time we got out of our own way and learned to unconditionally love ourselves. Seek definitely does come in every shape, so if you want something to believe, start with yourself. If you'd like to be a guest here on Confidence in Bloom and chat with me, contact me through Instagram at infobloomstyling or by email at tina@infobloomstyling.com or through the Divas That Care website.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.